He was named by my grandma, she got it from the Bible. And he passed it on to me like granddaddy's rifle. Raised me up like sweet corn, created a disciple. Yeah, I fought it like hell, he became a rival. Yeah, I tried to be different, tried to go against the grain. Didn't make no difference, I just ended up the same. I've never known better. Just to get out of his shadow. And he'd send me a 20 just to get back on the saddle. I put up a good fight, but I didn't win a battle. I guess a tree don't grow very far from the apple.
If this will work now. Steven Wilson Jr.
Hey, Jamie, how's it going, man?
Look at you. How you doing, Steven?
Look at me. Yeah, we're all snowed in here in Tennessee. So, yeah, we're gonna sit Indian style, like we're about to do yoga or something together.
I love it. I love it, Steven. And look at that compound. Long live the songwriter, Frida Kahlo in there.
Yeah.
All kinds of good stuff, Steven. But so great to finally connect. Obviously, Son of That out now wherever records are sold, and you can catch Steven on the road in 2024, and including Midland's The Last Cruise, which we'll talk about in a bit. But Steven, let's start with the snow there, because we were talking about it. What is a snow week like this one in Nashville, where for 4 days now, everyone's been hunkered down? What is that like in the Steven Wilson Creative HQ like?
Well, we don't really do much here in Tennessee. I got a Jeep Cherokee, like this old, like 2000 Jeep Cherokee, and I just drive it around in the snow and just watch kind of watch everybody freak out. I grew up in southern Indiana, where there actually is a good amount of snow, so I'm quite familiar with driving on it and living in it and knowing how to exist within it. But here it's a little bit different. Like everybody just kind of shuts down, and it's a little bit scarier here, more apocalyptic to people, more so than where I came from. But yeah, I quite enjoy it because it just kind of shuts everything down. It's like a forced shutdown, like whether you like it or not. Like everybody just kind of like levels the playing field. Everybody, whether you're like rich or poor, as long as you got heat in your home, like everybody's kind of like at the same level. Like nobody can really do anything. Like your Mercedes isn't going to save you. Does that make sense? Like, and I love that mentality to the whole thing.
That's so true. I taking aside actually Teslas, I just read about, I don't know if you saw that, Teslas are really like having a hard time in the winter because like there's like major problems with their batteries with the temperatures. I don't know.
Yeah, and my Jeep Cherokee that I paid that's worth about $1,200 is running just fine.
I love it, Steven. By the way, Steven, like I said, Son of That, obviously last year, what a meteorite of a record. Rivering would be an understatement. Were you surprised, Steven, by just how much everyone loved it? We're talking about #1 album of the year by Holler, Rolling Stone, Billboard. Everyone had it as a shining gem, which it is. But were you kind of caught off guard, really, by how universally beloved that album was?
Yeah, very much. Because really, to me, I was just like, I didn't even think anybody was going to like it, period. I did, I have very low self-esteem. So that really the whole record, when I put it out, because I'm kind of new to this artist stuff, I've mainly just been a songwriter, more behind the scenes fella, and in the past, I started it out, as kind of a beta test by putting out songs, and so I like really the whole process was I was scared of it the whole time, like every single all the way to the album, and once the album came out, yeah, I was very nervous, and because it's a big part of my heart. I spent like 4 years making the record, and it's truly like a record. It's like I kept a record of my life and made a record of that time period of pretty much right when my dad died to when the record came out was like kind of the record. It was like a chunk of time, and I wanted to do my best to kind of honor my father and his legacy, but honor that time period, because that time period was such a as terrible as it was, and I guess still is. Losing my dad through it all, like it was an incredibly honest moment with myself, and I just really just wanted to capture that. I wanted to keep a record of the truth to the moment, not so much like, oh, I gotta make these songs or whatever. Like so when people reacted to the record, I was very surprised because it's so personal to me. It's like to see the story connect with other people on a level that it has been really surprising and a real blessing to me, because I mean the whole thing is like kind of built on a prayer, and like a prayer is like a bird, you just kind of let it fly, and you gotta hope it lands somewhere. And so the album was a bit of a prayer, and that prayer became a bird, and that bird is like now out, and it seems like it's it's kind of landing in places where people need it to, and that's really what means the most to me, rather than like I really like am honored by any accolades that the record's getting. I never expected anything at all like that, like no critical anything. But the biggest thing for me is to see how it's like transforming people's lives and transforming people's perspectives on grief and loss and pain, and just like the human experience that we're all going through. And really that's what songs did for me in the beginning. Like I got bit by like the song bug really young as a kid on a school bus by a song called Don't Take the Girl by Tim McGraw. It made a mess out of me as like a 12-year-old kid. And really this whole record was an attempt to pay it forward. That emotion that I felt, and all the emotions I've felt from music since that moment, like just try to pay that forward. And it's been a real honor to see people react to it, and it just kind of moving forward and not being in a stationary state. And it's out of my hands now at this point. Like it's like once you put it out, it's kind of, you never know where it's gonna go after that. So I'm just, I guess to answer your question, short story long, I'm really surprised by it. Yeah, I didn't expect any of this.
It's beautiful. And I think you are paying it forward. And the more we researched about your father, rest in peace, what a wonderful man he was. And I was almost thinking like, man, like Stephen, like this opportunity to tour the world. I mean, in March you're gonna be in Germany, all over the place, 2024. It's almost like a vessel, right? Like that you are kind of transmitting the wonderful lessons of your father. It's almost like you're a conduit to kind of expand these teachings that you were taught with, that you were brought up with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like I'm wearing them like a backpack. That's the best way I can describe it. Like, when he died, like I died with him, like my identity that I was before him died with him. And like, but with that death came a rebirth, not to be kind of cheesy, but that's really what it was. And within that rebirth was a situation where, yeah, I'm like, it's more like two spirits in one, and I carry his legacy. And when after he died, I played this festival in Deadwood, South Dakota, and it was like the first thing I played after he died, really. And I just felt like, ever since then, he was like a kid on my shoulders, which is the weirdest way to think of your father, as like a child, but it's like his spirit is like kind of reverted to that kind of purity and, and, and that, and that purity is something that I can carry, because I can't carry him. Like, he's too big. He had his life, he carried his life, but I'm carrying everything he taught me, and kind of the spirit that he left behind too young. He died at 59, and I just feel like he had a lot of unfinished business, and this is his way of finishing that business. He's kind of doing it through me in a weird way. So it's really a responsibility, an obligation of sorts, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, Stephen. Really well said. By the way, you're always in shape, and like you started boxing when you were young. Do you still box, by the way? Is that something you still do?
Yeah, I do. I train as much as I can. I don't compete or anything anymore. It's a little too risky. It's a really dangerous sport. You can get really hurt even just training for a fight. Most boxers get hurt and injured training for their fight, sparring, stuff like that. So like the competition level, I hung my gloves up there, but I still do a lot of training to keep in shape. And I'm pretty obsessed with the sport just in general. I think about it all the time, Some people sit around and think about golf all day long, and I think about boxing all day long. It's literally honestly, that's it, for the most part, it's what I want to be doing most of the time, but it's not what I'm doing. It's not what I'm doing most of the time. But I love it so much, and it's just a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
I became as a quiet kid that didn't really talk, and the boxing ring was my first stage. I really wasn't meant to be a performer. I wasn't meant to be a kind of an extrovert or anything like that. So the ring gave me like all the confidence that I needed. Like I felt like once, like fighting in the Golden Globes, like doing all that, like it set up, like my dad helped with that big time, and kind of like setting a bar so high that like when I went to go play for my first 5,000, 10,000 seat room, where you normally get very nervous, like I revert back to those matches, and like nothing really compares to that. Like that bar is so high, unless I'm like in like a combat situation or like, I don't know, like in war, like I don't really know anything else that could like really kind of give me like that level of a pressure cooker situation.
Right.
And so it really just, if anything, the sport has been so tremendous for me, because like really it's helped me look down on everything from it, because like everything, like it's really hard for anything to surpass it. So it makes like all the normal monsters and all the normal mountains much smaller, and it's been a real gift for me.
Sure, because so much of it is mental, right, Steven?
It's all mental. It's why they call it shadow boxing, because you're essentially fighting yourself at the end. Like you're your worst enemy, you're your biggest opponent in it all. And that was something my dad taught me. And my dad had like a way bigger belief in me than I had in myself. So like him putting me into that sport, even though I don't think he really knew what to do with a weirdo like me. Like I got his name and I got his eyes and a lot of his facial features, but like we were so different on a personality standpoint. Like I'm an academic, and like he worked on cars and beat up people, and I went to college and was a microbiologist, and the boxing was like our common denominator. And it's a beautiful common denominator, because there's so much science within the sport, and there's so much humanity and perseverance and resilience required. And I find most fighters, boxers, are all fighters. Like they're literally fighting something. They're all usually fighting their way out of poverty or fighting their way out of an abusive situation. And there's so many stories in those rings. So, and the gyms, I love hanging out at boxing gyms just to talk to the fighters and get some ideas, stuff like that. So
Wow.
It's a beautiful sport, and it's one-on-one. Team sports were tough for me as a kid because I hated not so much the losing and winning didn't bother me. It was the letting other people down that bothered me. I hated that. So like when you're fighting, you're only really letting yourself down or maybe your corner, but it's really one-on-one, and I love that. Like if I lost, I lost. It's not, and I was good with that. That felt better to me. So
makes sense, Stephen. Well, listen, you have a lot going on today. I'm sure you want to be with your family, but let's pivot to the Midland cruise, which we'll be there covering. We're lucky to be there, and we're so thrilled that you're going to be there as well. April 1 through 5th, midlandcruise.com. This is one of those gigs, Stephen, where, I mean, your whole family must be like, can we come, right? Although I lost your audio. I lost your audio there for a second. Sorry, I lost your audio. There we go.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, my whole family does want to come to this, and a few of them are. But yeah, it's definitely it's going to be very exciting. It's actually my first cruise. I've never been on a cruise ever.
Okay. Really? Okay, it's interesting. They say that sometimes when it's windy, playing in those in the stage with the wind there, it can get a little challenging, even for a seasoned professional like yourself, Stuart.
Well, I'm here for them. Challenges are just part of the game. I've yet to play a show without one. So bring them up.
Love it. And Stephen, what other do you have plans for do you know still if you're going to collaborate with like other bands like Midland or Orville Peck or something? Or I'm sure you will, but do you know anything yet?
I don't know anything as of yet, but I bet we will. I have a really strong feeling that there will be some great collaboration within them or within myself, and I'm really just honored to be there. That they're having this weirdo there on their cruise, and I can't wait to just meet everybody and just get on a big old boat and play country music and just kind of meet all the characters that it comes along with. And so yeah, we're gonna have a good time. I think there's gonna be a lot of spontaneity and a lot of just, I don't know, really good creative energy. I love those Midland boys. I haven't got to meet a lot of the other artists yet, but I've hung out with those Midland boys a lot and got to play a lot of shows with them, and they've become like a real, just a big part of my creative family here and a big part of my heart. And I just love them to death. And they're so much fun. They're like just so easy to hang out with and just kind of, they're just so comfortable in their own skin. So I'm a little bit awkward and weird and just don't know what to do with my hands most of the time. And I just, they always know what to do with their hands. So
I'm with you there, Stephen. I'm with you there for sure. Oh man. Well, Stephen, listen, you said it all. I will let you get back to, father and husband and songwriter and boxing duties, but really appreciate you giving us some time on this snowy day, man. And we cannot wait to cross paths soon.
All right. Thank you, Jamie, so much. I appreciate your time.
Take care, Stephen.
See you there on the boat. All right, my man. See you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here for the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from J-Rod Concert Media.